Hello YouTube. I want to review the Bris boat, inflatable boat, soft hull inflatable, and the Suzuki DF20 AS2, I believe. I have a very specific application. We go camping using a travel trailer, and I'm not brave enough or skillful enough to try to tow a travel trailer and tow a boat. I don't even know if that's legal. So I wanted something that we could take on camping trips where we often go to man-made lakes, Corps of Engineer lakes, things like that. We've certainly done kayaks, and we do like our kayaks, but you really can't get out on the lake with a kayak, especially when some of these lakes are hundreds of miles of shoreline. So in the process of researching for an inflatable boat, there were several brands that seemed to come up, Saturn, things like that, and the Bris boat certainly kept coming up in my list of searches. One thing that seemed to stick out about the Bris boat is they seem to advertise that the material they use, the PVC that they use, is maybe not twice as thick, but it's a lot thicker than the standard inflatable boats. Of course, I'm not talking about the synthetic rubber and the more expensive boats. Those boats were out of my range. I searched around and looked for people with their experiences, and honestly, I didn't really see a whole lot when it came to the Bris boat. And long term, I did find a few 3 to 4 year old reviews that they had updated how they were doing, and they all seemed to indicate that, with the exception of some minor things, that the Bris boat had maintained its structure and integrity, hull integrity, and continued to be a decent boat 3 to 4 years out. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger on the BSA 380, which is the 12.5 meter boat. I think I paid about $1,250 for it on eBay. And I ended up putting a Suzuki 20 horsepower DF20 AS2 on it. This is a 4-stroke. It does not have electric start. It does not require a battery. It's about 95 pounds, and the Bris boat itself is probably, when it's fully assembled, probably about 180 pounds. I did also put some transom wheels on, and this is my 4th time out in the boat. Some things that I really like about it: 12.5 foot was the perfect size. I can easily get 4 people comfortably in here. And the Suzuki it's probably too much motor, but it's definitely adequate. It gets up on a plane very quickly. As I'm doing this video right now, I'm doing approximately 19 miles an hour, and I'm at just a little under half throttle. I'm by myself. All I have in the boat is a foot pump, myself, and a full tank of gas right now. I will say that in terms of the initial plan, which was to have a boat to get in and out of a camping site while we're camping, this boat was a little heavier than I anticipated, or rather, let me say, the weight that I calculated seems heavier now that I actually lift it. I did it by myself today for the first time, getting the boat out of the trunk, inflating it, putting the motor on, all by myself. And It's not a hot day. It's kind of overcast today. It's been in the 90s, but today it's in the 80s. And it wasn't bad, but it's definitely, it's a chore. And one issue that I don't think I really counted on was the getting the boat down the ramp with the motor and gas in it. Two people can do it pretty easily. With one person, it's kind of hard. Some of the boat ramps are really steep. I ended up coming up with the rig. I have a ladder rack on my pickup truck, and I made some chains and hooks that attach to the D-rings on the boat, and I can actually kind of pick the nose of the boat up and hook it to the truck and back it in. It's a little clumsy, but it works. Getting it out of the water up the ramp is actually very easy. The chain system works really well because you're just basically going forward. When I got the boat, the only hiccup that I ran into was I didn't get an actual bill of sale. I got the certificate of origin or whatever that is, and when I went to register the boat, I ran into some problems with that, but the eBay seller was very responsive and sent me by email a bill of sale, and I ended up having no problems getting it registered. The boat itself seems robust. The material seems durable. This particular model has an aluminum floor. There are other boats out there that have the rigid inflatable floor, and I kind of guessed which way to go, but I think I made the right call. The advantage in my mind of the aluminum floor is you don't have to pump the inflatable floor up to very high. I think it's a considerably higher amount of pressure for those floors. This does have an inflatable keel, but it's not a high pressure inflation. The disadvantage by far of the aluminum floor is it's heavy. Just the panels by themselves are heavy. They add probably 40 pounds to the boat. It also adds to the setup time. It means you're dealing with metal edges around the material, so I'm sure there's a risk with that. But I still think I went the right way. I did purchase an electric pump. I think it's a Sea Eagle, a relatively new model, and I don't like it. There were complaints about it on Amazon about the pump's not working after 3 or 4 uses, and honestly that's been my experience. This does come with a foot pump, and it does the job. It will inflate the boat rather quickly, but I think the advantage of having the electric pump is you can be doing other setup things while the boat's inflating, and that would be nice. I am considering finding a trailer and not deflating this between outings, at least during the summers maybe. It would be nice to just be able to pull this thing out of the water and go home, and also just to come here with it on a trailer I think would be better. The handling of the boat is kind of rough. This is a small boat. It uses air for buoyancy. So if the water's any kind of rough, you're going to feel it. Today, like I said, there's really not anybody out today. So this lake, I'm in Lake Perry in Kansas, it's actually pretty smooth today. We were out just a week ago, 4 or 5 days ago, and it was busy. There were a lot of other boats. and it was rough. It was definitely rough. So I think one of the next upgrades I'm going to get is some kind of cushioning for these aluminum seats. All total, the setup time takes about, by myself, 20 to 30 minutes. I think I could do it faster if I was hustling, but just being kind of leisurely about it, not being in any particular hurry, I feel like I can get it done in, 20, 30 minutes. That's what it was today, but I could probably get it done in 15 minutes. I think the limitation would be the pump. I think this is strong enough and fast enough I could probably pull somebody on a tube. The motor itself is excellent. There were a lot of reviews on the motor. It was a reasonable price. I got it from Online Outboards or something like that. I think they're out of Tennessee. Very reasonable price. I called them in advance to ask some questions. They're very helpful, very knowledgeable. And it's a wonderful motor. It's easy to start. Going over a few waves, choppy waves right now. Some jet skiers out here today. It's easy to start. I'm in the break-in period still, so I haven't really opened it up. Having said that, I feel like I'm going as fast as I want to go, or as fast as it's actually safe to go, at least with just me in the boat. I'm not even at half throttle, and it probably just under half throttle, and I'm moving out right now. I'm going pretty quickly. I feel like if I were to go too much faster, at least if there were more chops and waves, that this thing would maybe even go airborne, and I don't want to do that. The boat gets really good, or the motor rather gets decent gas mileage. It's a 4-stroke, electronic fuel injected. I've got the stock 3-point-something gallon tank, and every time we've taken it out, we've been out for a number of hours, and I don't think we've used more than a gallon yet. Maybe a little more than a gallon. I was going to get a bigger tank based off some reviews I read of some other people, but I don't, at this point, I don't think it's necessary. Like I said, I put some transom wheels on it. I got it from the same vendor that I bought the boat from. They're the big 16-inch wheels, I believe. I'll have some photos or video in just a second. I'll be intermixing some video of the lake that I'm on today here in a bit, or as we're just kind of watching this. The wheels are nice. I think they were like $90. They were all kind of wheels on eBay, and ranging from a little bit cheaper to a couple $100. I don't know. I feel like they only get used for a few minutes at a time, and these so far have worked out quite well. They're a little bit rattly, but they do okay. They're very helpful. It was funny, the last time we used this, we went to pull the boat out of the water, and I guess the gentleman on the ramp next to us didn't realize that there were transom wheels, and when he saw us pull the boat, I think he assumed we were just dragging it out on the concrete. But then when it kind of popped out of the water, it was apparent that the wheels were on there. He started laughing, and he knew I was on to what he was thinking. It was funny. Anyway, I'm gonna try to check in from time to time and see, post updates on how it's doing and things like that. If I have any problems, try to keep some updates going. But again, if you have any questions, just put them down in the comments section. I'll try to get to them. Thanks, and over and out. So, pretty much done with my trip for today. This is the dock. This is just kind of the boat. I didn't put the front bench seat in it because I was just by myself. That's the tank. Like I said, it's one of the smaller tanks. And this is the Suzuki with the transom wheels on the back. And you can see the ramp. This one is not as steep as some of the other ones. I could actually probably walk this one out by myself, but I'm going to get my truck and do the chains, and I will show you guys the chains. And this is the boat from the front. I want to show you the transom wheels from in the water. They're actually a little bit of a pain to get up, to get down. Getting up is easy because they float, so naturally the water pushes them up. I did make one modification. It came with these kind of pins. If you put this pin right here, you have to unlatch it to swing it up because this bar gets in the way. So I ordered some of these just push through pins, and so we can swing up and down without having to unhook anything. And so basically, I don't know if that's focusing or not. I think I'm losing focus. And then, because the wheel is buoyant, you have to kind of push it down. This would be hard to do if it was cold and you didn't want to get in the water. So anyway, this is the transom wheels, one up, one down. Better shot of the motor. So here's the chain setup I have for getting the boat out of the water by myself, and actually even not by myself. So it just goes up to my ladder rack, which we use for kayaks. I don't actually put ladders on it, and I just chain them to the D-rings. I have a third chain that I can put to the front D-ring, but for the amount of distance that we're taking it, I feel like it's not that bad, and the bulk of the weight is going to be on the transom and the transom wheels. So this will actually just pull right out. I just go really slow, go up that way, and deflate it. This is the chain set up with it out of the water. You can see it's on the transom wheels. That's where we came from, but on the transom wheels. And the chains.